Your Money, brought to you by the Welch Group.
Last week, our Jonathan Skinner sat down with financial expert Jay McGowan from the Welch Group to discuss general financial planning topics for young parents. Now he's sharing some advice before you buy your home and stress your credit card.
So parents, we were talking a little bit last week about setting your kids up for a great financial future, but of course, taking care of yourself first, some big decisions, one of those being whether to rent or to buy. What advice can you give to parents out there who might be considering this right now?
Yeah, I would say, like we kind of talked about last time, take care of the basics first. You know, we mentioned the emergency funds. We mentioned reducing existing debt, high interest debt, so credit cards, student loans, things of that nature. If you're trying to take on more debt while you already have high interest debt outstanding, it can make it harder for you to pay off any of them. I think another thing that people often don't think about when they're younger is like the stability of their income. You're starting your career out, you don't know where you want to work, if you even want to be in that industry. There's a lot. I mean, I personally did this when I was in my late 20s, changed careers, and so it will make that decision and that process a lot smoother if you have some stability as far as your income goes. So I think just taking care of the basics, being in a good place financially before you buy a house, because buying a house is expensive, not only the purchase but also everything that goes along with it. But I think that's the first thing to consider. And
you mentioned sort of having that stability as well, and sort of being early in your career. Some of these parents might be early in the stages of trying to improve their credit or get credit up to where it needs to be to get the house that they want. What are some ways that they can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to have credit to buy a house, and so whether you don't have any credit or your credit needs work, there's definitely things you can do. So if you have credit, but it's maybe not as good as you would like to get a favorable rate, work on your utilization. So that's the biggest factor that drives your credit score, and that is basically what percentage of your total available credit do you have outstanding. I think the general rule of thumb is about 30%. You want to keep it under that. Utilization is a big thing. Paying timely, making sure that you understand when you're opening different accounts, like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, shopping for the holidays. Like if you're opening accounts to get discounts at different stores, like how does that impact your credit? Educate yourself on all those little things, and then if you don't have credit at all, there's ways to do that. There's secured credit cards where you basically put money up and you have a credit card where you can build credit history, but the credit card company will give you the credit card even though you don't have any history. And then I think just saving for a down payment. 20% is the target. A lot of times people can't get to that. There's different kinds of loans where they don't require you to have 20%, but the more you can put down, the better, in my opinion. I would say don't sacrifice your long-term financial future to get every bit of house that the bank will tell you can get, because they will let you borrow more money than may be financially responsible in your situation. So I would say, first off, pay yourself first, the old adage goes. So make sure you're contributing to those retirement plans, trying to target at least 10% of your gross income that's going into savings vehicles that are more long-term focused. It's more of like delayed gratification, like this money is for later, not right now. As far as the house itself, it depends on your situation, but I would say as a general rule of thumb, don't let your housing expenses be more than like 25% of your gross income after you've made those retirement saving contribution. For the young people, don't worry, don't fret. If you take care of the X's and O's day to day, you will get to a point where you can achieve that goal. But just don't be afraid to be patient.
Absolutely. Be patient, take care of the basics.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yep. Some great advice there. All right, Jay, thank you so much for taking the time again.
Yes, sir.
If you want any of these Your Money tips, you can find them on our website, WAFF.com, or watch us here every Tuesday at 4 o'clock.